I didn't catch her the first time because I thought I was dreaming fog, hanging low over Harbor Pines, Marina, the security timestamp sitting at 3:12 a.m. And there she was on the ladder to my boat, a quilted robe hair, pinned like a news anchor, passing a plastic jug to a teenage boy, while a flashlight jittered over my deck. The next morning, my bilge pump looked chewed, and the air bit the back of my throat like solvent. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about a boat anymore. It was about someone deciding my life was their stage. My name's Evan Cole. I'm 46. I used to be a systems engineer. I don't belong to a yacht club, and I don't own white deck shoes. I bought a storm-beaten 46-foot cutter because I wanted quiet. A project. Something honest, the listing said, as is storage through spring haul-out recommended, which is real estate code for bring patience in a wallet. And I did. I brought both title bill of sale, slip agreement, insurance binder, everything in a blue folder, like armor made of paper. First morning, I showed up with coffee and new gloves. There was smoke curling out of my galley vent curtains. I didn't hang, shifting in the cabin window. I stepped on deck, and a woman opened my door like I worked for her, spatula in hand. Perfect. Blow-dry, the kind of smile that tells you rules. Bend for her. You're late, she said. Propane's low, and we're out of eggs. Be a dear. And when I asked who she was and why she was in my home, she said Miranda Harbor. Few HOA were caretaking this vessel for the community while ownership gets sorted. I held up the folder. My name, my signature, my transfer. Ownership is sorted, I said. She glanced past me at the water. Shared waters, shared asset. Our Bay Conservancy Alliance declared it abandoned, so it's our floating clubhouse until further notice behind her. I could see throw pillows. I'd never buy a miniature coffee machine feeding off an orange extension cord. A shiny Bless Our Bay sign taped crooked over the porthole. You moved in. I said we prefer caretakers. She answered and closed the door soft, like she was being merciful. People always ask why I didn't explode right then. But the men who win these fights don't win with speeches. They win with receipts. So I walked down the dock and found Rick, the marina manager who rubbed his temples and promised to handle it carefully. Which is manager code for there's a Karen involved. Brace yourself, and at 6 a.m. next morning, Miranda tapped on my truck window manicure, sharp as a memo, handed me a notice of community fine. $500 for alteration of shared facility, without board approval. A seal that looked printed on a toaster pay within 24 hours. Or will escalate to maritime injunction, yeah. That happened. I didn't argue. I photographed everything. The typo in injunction, the clipboard, the seagull logo that tried to look official and missed later that day. Coastal Safety showed up to keep the peace. I raised my title, and they raised their eyebrows at her. Laminated temporary custody authorization. Studied it like staring at paper might turn it into law. And then we got that line every careful officer uses. This looks like a civil matter. You know what I mean. The kind that leaves you holding your breath and your temper at the same time. She hosted a community preservation brunch on my foredeck. Folding chairs, patriotic napkins, lemon bars, straight from a church basement. She live streamed and christened my hull the people's sloop. With a paper cutout, folks clapped. Because clapping is easier than reading. I stayed boring on purpose. I called a municipal reporter, walked her through deed bank transfer, marina ledger tax emails. She printed a piece so dull, it accidentally became a weapon. People hate. Learning they've been fed a bedtime story. A few of Miranda's brunch squad drifted away, and Miranda did what people like her do when reality won't move. She pushed the room a call to my supplier. From a very official-sounding voice froze my account for environmental concerns. A county letter summoned me for a possible discharge violation. I couldn't commit because I hadn't even pressurized the system. I showed up with photos, inspection logs, sealed lines. The inspector rubbed his temples and said, "Let me guess. HOA complaint," I said. "Shoreline Estates," he said. "Same caller as last month, we'll close it." Small wins, you don't post about, just stack. Then the twist that made a judge look up Miranda's lawyer filed for an emergency stay, claiming a community salvage coalition had claimed the vessel months ago. They attached a yellowed form with a notary seal and a name that sounded nautical. If you squinted, my attorney, Avery Grant. Calm voice, flat. Shoes, knives made of case law. Subpoenaed the notary and pulled surveillance. The notary looked the judge in the eye and said, "I never signed that document." You could feel the air change. A courtroom has a temperature, and it dropped. Still, the judge kept a temporary order in place. No moving the boat until full hearing. Process is slow by design, so I did what I could. Shut off non-essential utilities to my slip. No power for her mini-machine. No water for her pitcher. Petty legal effective live streams went from smug to sweaty. And then we rolled back to 312A. A guard named Luis knocked on my window, led me to the office, pressed play. Robe flashlight. Teenage boy funnel, a glug that made my jaw clench 10 minutes, and they were gone. Like raccoons, morning came, and the pump was gelatin. The sheriff watched the clip, wrote, "Felony." Criminal mischief, like he wanted the handwriting to hold. And I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Clarity, not joy, not revenge, just the sense that the math finally balanced. Avery filed the video and a neat record of every fake fine and every breath of that laminated lie. And on a Saturday, I set out donuts on the dock, called it Open Maintenance Day. Invited anyone to step aboard and see what a money pit looks like before it's a boat again. Neighbors came with curious faces and no pitchforks. I pointed at corrosion. And invoices told the story without flourishes. An older guy asked, "So you really did buy it?" And I said, "I really did." And a little piece of something unlocked in my chest. Because being seen as the owner hits different than being the owner on paper. The president of Shoreline Estates. Russell, a golden retriever in human form, asked to meet. He walked up like the deck might judge him. I poured coffee, not lemonade, spread the folder, put Avery on speaker to explain jurisdiction. The next day, the HOA posted a statement that they had no oversight. Over Harbor Pines, Marina. Miranda called him a traitor online and announced a new group with the same 3 members in different hats. The clock ran down to the hearing. Greyhaven's courtroom is small wood that smells like old meetings. A gavel that makes people sit up. Miranda came in. Red blazer sunglasses, her son Zach behind her, under a hoodie, like he was trying to disappear. Avery built the case brick by brick. Purchase, contract. Wire transfer. Slip agreement. Marina logs closed. Inspection letters. Screenshots of fake fines with seagull seals. The notary's sworn statement. Then the video lights dim silence, except for that sick little glug. Someone sucked a breath and didn't let it out until the screen went black. Judge asked Ms. Keene, "Ms. Keene, do you dispute that this is you at 3:12 a.m. on Mr. Cole's vessel?" And she tried to riff. Your Honor, there was a safety inspection on behalf of the community. Hazardous materials. Shared waters, and the judge said, without permission, with a substance matched to the damage in his bilge pumpette. An hour you knew the owner was not present to correct. Her mouth opened, closed. The pen went down, and the words that followed landed like a tired truth. Finding a chair, possession is returned to Mr. Cole. Any community fines are void. The matter of forgery and property. Damage is referred to the district attorney. You will not step foot on his vessel or yard. Do you understand? Bailiff stepped. The sheriff touched her wrist. The handcuffs clicked once, no. Theatrics, no finale, just rules catching up to a performance. Yeah, that happened. I didn't celebrate. I signed forms, thanked. Avery shook Rick's hand. Drove with the radio off and the window cracked. Let cold air do the thinking 2 days later. Miranda filmed from her kitchen table, soft colors. Softer voice titled, "They Silenced Our Community." She never said my name, didn't have to. The comments did. What comments do. Half sympathy, half fury. I stayed quiet because I don't win in that arena. I win with work, with steel, wool and acetone, and a travel lift, whining under a hull that finally wants to be a hull. Again, neighbors watched the haul out. Like it was a parade. A little girl asked, "Is that the ladies' boat?" And her dad said, "No, honey. That's his boat, it always was." And I had to turn away for a second because some sentences land where you don't expect them to. The DA called. I answered questions. Sent copies. Zach admitted he helped. Scared voice apology shaped like static. I couldn't even enjoy the vindication because all I saw was a kid drafted into someone else's crusade. Miranda stood on the public walkway while the crane settled. My masked arms crossed. No sign. No scream. Just a person trying to locate the exact second a story stopped belonging to her. And if you want to know the truth, I don't hate her. Hate costs more than I'm willing to spend what I feel is relief with a bruise under it. Relief that paper still beats volume if you give it time. A bruise from how fast a laminated lie can rent a crowd. That's my short version. The hook, the climb. The click, the clean. Win written in a case number, and the messy win that comes later when you learn to sleep again. I still check over my shoulder on the dock because I learned how thin the ice is between community and a crowd between rules, and a performance of rules between a neighbor who waves and a neighbor who waves paperwork. So tell me this, would you have argued for the camera or done what I did? And let the receipts talk. Would you have paid a fake fine to keep the peace or killed the power? And waited to chose protect neighborhoods or hand the loudest person a microphone? Nobody knows how to cut. You know what I mean. Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you stand on right and wrong here, on how easy it is to confuse community with control. And if you've lived through your own HOA saga, give me the beats. What went down? Who wore the hero badge? When did the real ending arrive? Hit subscribe for more true stories. Told the way we live them rough edges on no grandstanding. Just the truth and the receipts.